called Me and My Doulas. It was hand painted by Dr. Lucinda Conti of Connecticut, Afro-American nurse midwife. She does art to represent Black women, give them voices. And so it's being auctioned off, starting at $125. We have a baby blanket set, handmade, that's mud cloth on the table, gorgeous. And we have a journal called Fourth Trimester, donated by another midwife from the East Coast. So we will be getting that ready between tomorrow. It'll be available. So if you're here tomorrow, everything should be set up. Then you can auction off, and we'll use the proceeds. So if people want to take a doula training, we can help sponsor them. Okay, so we're going to start just by, what's our questions? We're going to start just by saying how we were trained and where we're from and why we do the work. And we have some other questions.
Why we do the work, how long, and what keeps us doing it.
Yeah. Okay. Start there.
All right, peace. Well, of course, y'all know my name is Miss Grand Doula Karim, and I'm from Richmond, Virginia. And I have been doing doula work for about 40 years. When I say doula work, I mean I was just like serving the community, serving mothers in the communities, helping with the breastfeeding, just giving them advice and just supporting them and going into the homes and taking care of them. So I've been doing that for like 40 years. And the reason why I am a midwife, or what inspired me to become a midwife, is my great-grandmother. She was from Hanover, Virginia. And as you know, if you was to do some research about the Black midwives in Virginia, they were one of the first ones to come to the shores of North America in Virginia. So we have a heavy tradition of midwives in Virginia. Also, I didn't know or understand the Black infant mortality rate, exactly what that was, because it's like new on the scene. But my great uncle, who died at 93 years old, he told me that my grandmother died in childbirth. Not only did she die in childbirth, but her daughter died in childbirth too. And at the funeral, she had a casket, and in the casket, the baby was buried with her in the casket, and she was holding the baby, and they were buried together, which I thought was very, very interesting. And also, after my uncle died, he had on his death certificate who the midwife was. And my family grew up in the communities. Of course, we had communities back in the day. And it was a community that was made for Black people, because the white people outside of the community, they needed people to take care of their lawn, they needed people to take care of their children and to cook. So they made a Black community for Black people to live in to serve the white community. So that's where my people were raised. And my cousin used to tell me, she used to see this lady who smoked a pipe and would wear all white and had her little black little case. Yeah. And when they saw her, they knew she was a midwife in the community, and they knew that it was time for someone to have a baby or an abortion. So it was either one, because midwives also did abortions back in the day. So that is what kind of inspired me to become a midwife. So I was online searching, and I said there has to be a Black organization. And I searched for about a year, and then I came up with ICTC. And I was so excited. I got in contact with Mama Shafir, and I started my journey with her. And it was an awesome journey. I'm really, really grateful and thankful. And I became a doula trainer under her. And then in Richmond, Virginia, I was so blessed to be a part of an organization, UBBC, United Black Birth Collective. And we're now in Richmond, Virginia, and we're doing birthwork as a group. Our midwife is Midwife T, Sister T, and she's here, and we have an assistant midwife. And we have two doulas, which I train. So I'm saying all this to say that your path changes. Yeah. You know, you might start off small, but whatever direction you want to go in, you can go in. You might something comes up in your life, and you might can't do birth work to the capacity that you want to do it at that particular time. But just keep your foot in the door. You know, just don't, like I did, my life situations changed, you know, but I continued to do the birth work. If I did like one birth a month or one birth every 3 months, or just call another doula and find out what was going on in the community, I never stopped. So when y'all hear me saying I did birth work for about 40 or 35 years, because I kept my foot in the door. Yeah. Just keep your foot in the door. You know, you're gonna have babies, you're gonna go through divorces, your teenage children are gonna give you problems, your mother's gonna die, you know, all of those things, because we just wanna keep it real. Those things do happen, you know, but just remember, you know, you are here to do birth work, you know, and it doesn't matter the capacity that you do it, you know, or it would be nice if we had more black midwives, but we need doulas also, but we're also asking for more midwives, but just don't give up, just keep your foot in the door.
So, hi everyone. I'm still mellow. We were doing hypnosis, so I'm feeling really good actually. So, my name is Samsarah Morgan. I have been a doula for 43 years. And I started the process of being a birth worker because I was blessed to give birth to a set of twins when I was 19 years old, my firstborn babies. And that was the most exquisite experience of my little life at that time. After a very unhappy childhood and life up to that point, this miracle thing happened in my body over a series of months. And these babies came out, and they were like cute, and I just loved them more than anything in the whole world. And my heart just opened up in a way that nothing until the birth of my other biological baby happened had been able to touch me. I mean, there's really no love that has touched me as deep as the love as I have for my children and grandbabies and daughters-in-law and my family life, which is everything to me. So after having this beautiful earth-changing experience, I was really saddened to speak to my peers who were also young married women and just having their babies and stuff, and nobody was talking about an earth-changing experience. People had talked about how they had had babies and they loved their babies, but nobody was talking about the sky parted and the angels sang, like nobody, right? So I realized that I felt sad about that because it was such a powerful and still such a powerful thing in my life. And I realized that back when I thought I was only having one baby, I had planned to have my babies at a birthing center. My little 19-year-old self, raised in Brooklyn, New York, found a birthing center in Manhattan. And I had dragged my ex-husband there, and I was gonna have my one baby in the birthing center. New York won't allow twins to be born outside of the hospital. That was devastating. However, the midwives, being wonderful midwives, were like, don't worry, you're still a member of the family, we still love you, we just can't deliver you here. So I got all my childbirth education from them and all my love from them, and after my babies were born, I brought them back and showed them off, what you do after your childbirth ed class, you come back and you talk about everything. And so I had that beautiful family. They were my doulas. They helped me find the right hospital that would respect the fact that in 1979, I wanted to have a natural birth of twin babies. People looked at me like I was kind of crazy. They helped me find the most wonderful obstetrician who had perfect attitude. He was like, oh, you're young, there are multiples in your family, we're gonna have fun. This is gonna be fun. And that's exactly what I wanted to hear from an obstetrician. Yeah. Okay? Not a negative word out of the gentleman's mouth. And he was a gift. Dr. Klein, may he rest in peace. So I went in there very fearlessly for the first time in my entire life because I was a fearful little girl, but I was not afraid of childbirth. And I had been so well schooled by the midwives and supported by my OB to know that to feel like I could do it. You know, and I did, twice. So I started to be the person that people will invite to come with them when they had their babies. When my peers and friends, then it was like friends of friends. Whatever work I did when I was working in very corporate environments, I was the one who knew about babies, and I knew when I was working in a brokerage firm and I was surrounded by men, but I got to know all their girlfriends and wives. And when someone was having a baby, I was the person that would call. For about almost 3 years, I was the person doing this before a lovely nurse said to me, you know, this is a profession. I was like, okay, well, this is really cool. So being a birth worker has always been something, as Sister Basma was saying, I've always been a birth worker while I was doing other things. It was about 25 years ago when being a birther became my full-time profession. And that's what I am today, proud to say today. So I am either training or I'm actively working with births. I'm also a hypnotherapist. I'm a family life coach. So my work is around helping people build their relationships, start their families, and grow their families. And that's where I'm the most happy, working with other human beings. I continue to do this work, and I've had my come to Jesus moments around being a birth worker, especially in the past 4 years, as things have taken another really deep change. And that 39-week induction thing is working my nerves. It's making us all really tired. I'm done with that, you know. Because the clients who come to me, they want to try, and they want to get to hear the positivity that I share with them. They get it anyway. But then they walk into a system that's even more harsh on them. And so the reason why I have not stopped, the reason why I keep doing it is because that's really needed. I can see more than ever before the impact that I have on my families, and the families who feel ready to say no to the induction, having somebody stand by their side while they do that, while doctors are saying pulling the dead baby card left and right on them, which I think is one of the cruelest things that anyone can do to anyone else. You're threatening a dead baby because you want to birth it spontaneously and vaginally. Okay, so I'm looking forward to, I am in the process of, I'm also a student midwife. I would like to end my days as a midwife. And all because I do believe that birth workers and midwives were the first ministers on the planet. We were the first people to help folks see, feel, and walk with God. And I'm honored to be part of the crew.
Blessings, everyone. Who's the top one?
Introduce yourself, your journey, and where you want to go from.
Let's see, journey. So, I was born a birth worker, but it came through animals. So when I was 5, 6, 7, 8, anything sick, my mother was very kind, I could keep it. I had pigeons in my home, I had rabbits, hamsters, snakes, I had salamanders. And you all are probably too young, but there's a show called the Beverly Hillbillies, anybody know that one? And the girl who loved animals, they would call me Ella Mae Clampett. I'm from the East Coast in housing complex. You couldn't have animals. I had 3 dogs in my house, 2 cats, everything. And so, my poor parents. But I'm like, Mom, it's gonna die. My dad said, let it have it. So, and they died, by the way. So I learned about death very early. I remember getting up at night, someone took a puppy too soon, and I would go to the library and research. I knew I had to, the mother dog actually licks the stomach in a circle. That's how a puppy goes to the bathroom. And I tried to keep warm, rubbing it, and I would get up every 2 hours and put the hot water bottle in. They say get a clock. I got the clock, I wrapped it in the towel next to my heartbeat. I gave it the drops, but the next day it was dead. So I would do that a lot, just try to heal them. So I've always been a healer. And my friends, I'm 12 and 9, they were 60 and blind, or I would go to old people's houses. Back then, parents never kept track of you. They trusted you. All day in someone's house, they had no idea what was going on. Come back at 5 for dinner. But I'd be in some elder's house, helping them, talking to them, and I was always attracted to the girl that got beat up in school, who looked weird. I would become her friend, the sick and elder. So I always was like that. So to me, that was the creator telling me, couldn't you do that? That means you're taking care of people in need, which are pregnant people. They're in need. And so that's where my exposure came. So I always wanted to be a vet until I was about 15. Then my mother died when I was 15, and I ran from home for a lot of reasons. And I moved into a Muslim house, and she was having her, I think her 5th baby. And I would never thought about pregnancy, but I love that lady. I would just follow her around in the house and ask her kind of questions. I'm like 15, she's 30, can I touch her stomach? She was so patient. What's it feel like? I remember then she gave me a book called Emergency Preparedness by some guy, but it was for fathers. I memorized that book. So I was like, see, I read that book, I knew the book by heart. So I just figured that I would be with her, but she had a baby. She came back, because back then we knew I was having a home birth. So she came back from the hospital with her baby, and I was just like so disappointed. But I do remember going to her room. She had the door open. I never saw a postpartum body before, so I remember her just having this loose stomach and wrinkles. I'm like, wow, that's what it looks like after the baby's born. I'd never seen that. And her breasts, and watching her breastfeed. And she said, you should become a midwife. I'm like, what's that? Because I didn't know. So then I looked it up, and then I read about these black women who, to me, jumped into my body, literally. And I realized, oh, they just literally, they're still in me. They don't go. So that's why I talk the way that I do, because they literally are in me. So I read about them like, oh my God, I have to be them, what I said, because they're the ones who are running around, during enslavement, post-Jim Crow, helping people. Like, oh my God, who are these women? I just love them, so I want to be like them. So I remember sitting outside of University of Massachusetts. Oh, by the way, I'm a high school dropout. Quit school when I was, after 15, I never went back to school. So I told my dad I'm going to go to Africa when I was 17. He said, well, they got enough, don't go there dumb. He said, go back to school. So I did. I went and got my GED in 6 weeks and then went to college. But I still wanted to be a midwife. So I stood on the campus asking every black lady walk by, are you a midwife? Are you a midwife? And finally someone from Congo said, I'm a midwife. I said, oh my God, you don't know me, but you have to train me. I'm supposed to be a midwife. She's like, this crazy girl. So I didn't know she was talking, but she tried to help me, but like effacement, I hadn't took biology yet. I could not get that concept. So anyway, she tried to help. Then I went and I met some, then I got pregnant and I had a baby. And I already knew at 15 I wanted a home birth, so I looked for, there was no black midwives, I'm from Boston, no black midwives there at all that I knew of. So I found a white male doctor, Jewish, who said he did home births. So I had him. But then after my baby's born, he told me that another black lady, he just helped her. We met up, she was a midwife and a nurse, and family's from Alabama. Her mother was a traditional midwife, so really through her, I learned midwifery. So I've never been a doula per se, but I say doula because we talk about the black midwife, she is a doula also. So I still do that. And though I don't do births, I try to do like a birth a year. And I would say for me, I like to practice 10 blocks in my radius. So I don't want to be the doula, a midwife that goes far, but I have to give intense care. So I like to come to your house every single day, bathe you, massage you, wrap you, I cook. I just like this so that 2 people get me. And so I give them everything fully. So it's exhausting, by the way. I have 7 children. They were raised in this, so I never stopped being because of them. I pictured my baby on my back at 8 weeks old going to birth. Baby. So little that when she was in the bed, I helped my friend, the other member came to help and said, oh, the baby's here. I'm like, no, that's my baby. Because back then I didn't know that I'm not supposed to be out on 8 days postpartum. Because we had that was missing. There was, like I said, we lost that. We're bringing it back to you all, but we're the ones who brought what you know today. Back then, plus I didn't have a mother, so no one told me don't go back and go do birth. So my children were always raised in it. I never stopped because of them. I told my client, if you want me, I have to bring my children. They always agreed, and back then, you put your kids on the floor. It was, they would play with Legos and toys, or pots and pans, or we're all broke Tupperware, wooden spoons, give them some food, and the person have their baby. So yeah, I love the work. I'll die in the work. It is who I am. So I do it now mainly through training, education, and then every now and then someone gets blessed and say, they kept me on the right day. Like last year, I wasn't traveling, so I was her midwife, did the home birth. So if I'm around, I'll do it, but she has to look close, because otherwise, I don't want to drive back and forth, because you can't do a good job, in my opinion. If I live near her, on my way home from work, I would cook a lot of food. On the way from work, I would stop off, do 2 hours, hang out, it's on my way. But if I have to go home and then go back out, it's not gonna happen. Especially at this point in life, especially not gonna happen. So I just don't wanna drive like that. And what else about me? What else is the question?
What keeps you doing? What keeps you doing birth?
God. Like I said, I was born to do this work. I don't have a choice, I feel. I have to do it. It's like a compulsion, OCD. I have to do it. And, thank God my friends tolerate me. It's like, oh God, here she comes. How, so, what are you eating? You got a midwife, a doula, you know what your rights are. But it's fun when your kids come in and your son tells you when his friends come over at 16 or 18, tell the mom that his girlfriend don't know ultrasound. They're programmed like me. I'm not gonna tell them that, honey. But you don't get an ultrasound, man. That's bogus. That's like the man. Don't get an ultrasound. So we're all like little crazy people. And you can see my 2 daughters are here. All my children always fly. Anything I do around birth, they're a part of it. So raise your children in the work as a ministry. It's not a job. This is a ministry. It's what we do. And they're not midwives or doulas. They believe that we need to save our community. Whatever part they can play, they do, whether it's beading or putting stuff up. So don't feel like I can't do it because I just had a baby, or my kids are in soccer, or my kids are in college to wait. You could, but the midwives never waited. There was no wait. We don't have the option to wait. Babies are dying right now today. Women are being abused right now today. We need it right now. So your kids have to come along, give them the program. We got to help save people. And I told them that. So we're saving the world when they're 4 and 5 years old. So they believe that. You have to condition them so that they don't say, oh, you're leaving the house again. It's like, oh, they would call me up. I'm at a birth, they're like 12 or 8. How many centimeters? They know the term. Don't call me again. She's only 5. I'm coming back. So you're never coming home. It's I am. Staying there. Then when they come home, you make it up. You all go out and hang out and eat ice cream, eat whatever. So it's like a big party. They hung in this. You reward them. So it's good. Then they would come to the birth. They've held placentas. They've held babies. They've held cords. They've got they load my car up at night. They would come out and put the whatever I need. They load the car up. I don't load nothing. Birth, okay. They know everything is, everything in the car. I drive back home. They take everything out the car. It's the lifestyle. So it's not hard for me. It's easy because my family helps me. They believe in it. So if you're trying to do it by yourself, and your kids are mad, your husband's angry, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So that's I stand because I have to. I keep trying to get out of it. And look at me. I've done 18 conferences. I did the National Black Midwives Conference, the first one that was organized since 2002 and ended in Alabama 2020. And I said I was going to stop, and now I'm doing this because I'm compelled. We have to come together.
Yeah.
Somebody has to bring us together, And it is a sacrifice, but one that, in my faith, whatever I put out, I get back. It's a full circle. So, make the sacrifice, know that you're going to be rewarded in this world as well as the world to come. And that's it for me. Questions?
Any questions? Yes, young lady.
I have a question for Mama Sophia.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I have 2. My first question is, hearing your testimony about how you incorporated your children into your work shows that it's possible to be a birth worker with young babies.
Yes.
So my first question is, what would you say, because a lot of hospitals have a standard that kids under a certain age are not allowed. And then also some birth workers or moms are just I don't want the kids at the birth, it's too much, I won't be able to focus. What would you say to that? How did you navigate that and get them accustomed to that lifestyle?
The children or the client?
Both, honestly.
I would say, for one, I'll stand up here, then we can pass it around. I would say, for one, is this thing on? Yeah. Okay. So I don't really do hospital births. I am a home birth midwife. So I did not bring my kids to hospital because you can't. And it's not the same kind of vibe. But I still did, I transported in one of the hospitals many times. It's still the same situation. So that's one thing. I also had a good, restoring the village. I had a very strong village of women that could drop my kids off. Like back in my day, we breastfed each other's kids, you all. I breastfed many kids in our minds. We did that. So I left my 8-week-old or a 9-week-old for a couple hours with my girlfriend, and she had a baby who I had actually caught, and she would breastfeed my babies. We believed in that. You know, as far as I know, she had HIV. They're still here, so I guess they're okay. So, so we did that, and it was just like it was like a swap. You know, so that was one thing. We had to have a strong thing. Here's the thing with that. I find the challenge. We say having a village. A village has like-minded people. And we don't have that. We might all be African descent or Latina, but if you're not from the same village and they're from the same reservation, it's difficult because I don't eat pork and I don't drink, but you eat bacon, nothing against it, and you do your wine and that's fine, so I'm not gonna leave my child with you, because that's not my belief system. I have to leave my kids with people who I trust and have my lifestyle, or you know, maybe you want your kids to not watch cartoons 8 hours. So you have to find your community. So I was blessed that I had one, and they lived like almost in walking distance. I could just drop them, even at 2 o'clock in the morning. I got a bird, and I dropped them short. It was like an extended. So you need that kind of system where, you know, that. And then for the women, I'm gonna brag. They love me so much. It's like you gotta take the whole thing. You don't get me. So my kids are coming. So, but as I said, my kids well behaved. So if your child has like ADD or any type of illness, that's different, because you can't. But if you have to, if they don't have that, I can't bring a child to a birth who's screaming and jumping, having a tantrum. I'm not gonna do that. So they have to be taught that we're going to a birth at 6 and 7. And you cannot be screaming, making a lot of noise. So you feed your kids first, you give them their toy. She might bring them on right now. You're all okay, they're fine. You know, maybe the door's open for a while because the mother is okay. And then when it's time to have her birth, that she wants privacy, I'm gonna close the door and say she's having a baby now, it'll be over soon, and they're okay. So you have to train them. It's like, you have to train the children, otherwise you can't do it. So people I say now, like, I can't go to birth because they didn't do that. And so that's up to the individual how you choose to do it. So then people didn't mind because my children were helpful. Like they know how to do. They're gonna help. Like I'm trying to think of an example. Let's just say there's a bag of trash on the mother's floor. They're gonna pick it up at 10 years old and move it. Like they're gonna sweep the floor. Like I talked to him because she's having a baby. We're all working. So Michael, Muhammad, whatever the name is, sweep the floor. And okay, when you're done, let me know. And that was it. They didn't get paid. There's no allowance in this. It's like, this is not an option. We're saving the world. You're part of the work. And, you're helping out. You're just saving the baby. They get the whole baby. They loved it. They loved it. And they still love it to this very day. And they're all in their 30s and 40s. They have not changed in one moment. But you have to start early, not when they're 10. It starts at the breast, literally. When you're talking your breast, how you talk to them, how you expose them to what you want them to be. And then as a rule, not always, I've had my problems, never around birth, the problems. They will come that way. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to know if you guys could offer any advice about reestablishing your doula work when you move into a new state or a new community from where you started.
I can speak on that.
You don't know midwife T right here? She's a bomb you are. She's running around teaching people to be midwives. She comes to your state and trains you. She comes every 4 months. So she'll be doing a workshop later. You can grab her. Okay.
I'm gonna talk to you, my friend.
Yes.
I believe I was about 27 years old when I moved from the East Coast to the Bay Area, where I've lived since. And that was a great big deal. What I would say about that, what I would do differently actually, would be I would do some homework beforehand to get acquainted as best I could with the birthing community before I moved. I'm very blessed. The Bay Area has a very rich birthworker community. There's many more people of color now than when I first got there. But I think the first step, and now especially, it's a little easier because we do have Facebook and Instagram, and we can be connected to each other over vast distances with Zoom. So we can be connected to each other in vast distances a lot easier. than when I did it. But I think that would be the best step, because that was the community that I wanted to be in and work with. And, you know, just being on a first name hello basis with people is helpful. You know, and know that it's gonna take time, because not everybody that you know who's a birth worker you wanna work with. And sometimes the people who show up first are the people that you need to learn later that don't know. Right, so it takes time to kind of feel things out, know people's histories, see how the person's talk actually matches up to who they actually are and their character. But that, I would say that would be the first best step before you move. But if you feel called to move, because it will work. You're being called there for a reason. There's reasons why I'm in the Bay. I ask myself every day why. And I get answers. There's reasons why I'm there, and it has benefited me, and overall I'm happy that I did the move. I do miss New York every day though.
Are you a SMC doula? Okay, we have a network amongst ourselves, the SMC doula, so you might want to put it on Facebook and let them know, you know, you're coming in that area, and, you know, just make yourself known that you're coming in and what you can do, you know, and what you're looking for, you know, and just put it out there, put your energy out there, and just see what comes back.
And I love to give events, obviously, but I would say definitely do something in your house, like, you know, have a small gathering, you know, find a couple of people, even, you know, your trusted, and there's nothing like meeting in someone's home as opposed to at a coffee shop.
Right.
So, you know, just have 2 or 3 people come to your house, kind of introduce yourself, you know, come over, meet me, get to know each other, tell what you're about, and then also just do straight marketing. You know, take ads in the paper, take Facebook ads up, put flyers out, you know, and just like run your business like a business, and don't expect anyone's approval or need to be approved. It's your business, run your business like a business.
Right here first. Did I miss anyone?
Okay, I have 3 questions. They're all related, but they're still separated. So I'll ask them all together, and then you can just kind of divide it or clump it how you want. How do you overcome those moments when you feel like you failed someone? How do you overcome burnout, especially if your state accepts Medicaid and you just like grab everybody that calls you and say yes, 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 yes? And how do you know a mom is not for you?
Those are good questions.
Okay, so you're gonna help me out with those 3 beautiful questions. The first one that stuck in my mind is, how do you know if a mom is not for you? And right now, I'm really attuned to the folks who are looking for doula as savior. I'm not that, you know, I have a savior. Visit him in church on Sunday, and I'm not, you know. I really am excited about clients who are excited about being pregnant themselves. And I'm really excited about clients who want to be excited. There's just things going on in their lives that's keeping them from the excitement, but yet they're continuing a pregnancy and they want to. They want to be in a place of joy about what's happening inside of them and thinking about this baby and dreaming about this baby. They want that. I have clients who are terrified at the thought of birth, but my positivity, my faith, I'm willing to lend that to them. And the folks who are grateful about that are my clients. They're folks like, when I first met you, I was so scared, I didn't think I could do this. And then at the end, we have the picture of the smiling mother holding her newborn, feeling really proud of herself. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. You know, so we get to have job satisfaction. I think it's important. And that's a moment for me. And the moment when the daddy cries, oh my God. I'm watching, waiting for the tears. You know, so there are things that I truly love out of that. And I love when the moms are so grateful and they're so generous and they'll say, oh, I couldn't have done it without you. And I'm like, that's not so.
Right.
You did that. I watched you do it and I think you rock. You know, and so that exchange between myself and another woman is very healing from my own psychological issues. I love being in a good place with another woman like that. And as becoming an older woman, I have 5 sons, no daughters, but I have over 1,000 clients.
Wow. So you have lots of time.
Exactly. And lots of babies. So I love God's blessing me with work like that. That's so deeply enriching. And I love that what I leave behind. I leave behind peace and solidness and gratitude and someone who's going to be a kick-ass mom. Love that.
Yes. So I hear you saying how you will not get burned out, as well as how you're accepting a lot of clients. Do you think they go hand in hand?
Where's that?
You have to take care of yourself. Self-care is very important in birth work. We have to take care of ourselves.
I talk about it all the time. I make sure that I tell the moms to take care of themselves.
Okay, so are you telling yourself to take care of yourself?
I do.
Yeah.
Following through is another story.
Yeah. It's an art to it. It's an art for birth workers to learn how to take care of themselves. Each birth worker does it in different ways. You have to find your way. You can't save everybody, you know, but you have to take care of yourself because a lot of midwives, I've noticed a lot of them, once they get a certain age, their back hurt. Like me, my knees hurt. You see what I'm saying? Just constantly going and constantly going and constantly going. So you get to a point where, you know, you're gonna have to take care of yourself. So you're gonna have to find a way, whether it's meditation or yoga, or calling another doula and talk about it, you know, or telling somebody, you know, maybe you can do a phone call, maybe you can do virtual now, but still giving you all in all. I'm not saying virtual, I don't believe in virtual births, Zoom births, I believe in being there for the births. But you're gonna have to take care of yourself. You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice.
And I want to just add to that around self-care. So I think the term that we say for doulas anyways, and even with midwives, you know, well, I'll say doulas, donor created, I believe, because they created the terminology through Danielle Raphael, who created the term doula in 1950, a very well-known anthropologist. I have a lot of respect for her, believe it or not, I like her work. She passed away recently. But her term was continuous care. And so that is not our culture either, where it's continuous care by ourselves. So we work as, you know, I think someone said talk to their dad, and when the dad said, the person's in labor, like a bunch of women went in. So it's not just one person, that's what burned out. It's supposed to be a multitude of people helping that pregnant woman. And so we have to create teams. And so this model that is just you and me is a patriarchal system, and he himself uses nurses. He's not even there. He has a whole team of nurses. He comes at the very end. So why are we locked in for 25 hours in a hospital, of all places, with fluorescent lights and no fresh air? That itself exhausts you. Another thing that I try to recommend is, of course, it's up to the mom, when you all become comfortable as doulas, that my moms don't go in, because you can kind of sense 7 or 8, 7 men. We're not going in right away. We're staying home, and I'm gonna get in your bed. So I lay with moms. If they don't have a maid and they're in labor, I'm right there laying with sleeping. I had a contract like that. I'm not kidding. I've done that for 30 years. I tell them in my plan that when you're in labor, I'm going to lay down with you. Or, do you have another room? Because I have to have a room to rest. Or I'm going to use your couch. Don't fake. I'm not going to sit up all day in your chair. That's not fair. It's not realistic. That just makes you so tired. But if I'm able to eat, which I do, so here's the rule. You have to have food in your house. And if you can't afford it, then we're gonna figure out food, so I'm gonna make some food. We're gonna eat at your house, we're having fun. We're gonna eat, we're gonna sleep, we're gonna take walks. We are not getting stressed out about this. You are not, I'm dying. No, you ain't dying, honey. We're gonna say, right, it's not time yet. So, and I'm not trying to be in the hospital for 15 hours with you. We're gonna wait, you can't hold that, no, listen, Mama, okay, fine, I'm respect, we'll let it go. Every now and then she might be 3 or 4, and thank God now they send them back home. Years ago they didn't. So, rest with the mom. Tell your clients up front that we're gonna rest together. I am gonna lay down when you're having contractions. So just tell them how you work. You're not being neglectful, you're being normal, because you can't stay awake for 48 hours, it's not human. And so we put that brand on being a doula with the untruth, that I'm gonna be with you continuously. Maybe I have to leave and you come in. Why can't we work in partnerships? I know that there's 3 of us, we're all the bomb. We're different, but she met us as a team, and whoever is on first is here, and after 18 hours, she's going home, or 8 hours, and I'm coming in. That is what you're gonna get, you know? And so that's, because before that's what it was. Her aunt was there, her grandma was there, she was there. There's a whole bunch of people. People were cooking, rubbing their feet, laughing, talking, praying. It was a group party, and that's how birth should be. So then you're not tired, you leave feeling kind of happy. But so it's not set up right. That's the problem. We're following a model that's not our model, and that's why it's not working, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just wanna say I'm with a wonderful, I'm not gonna say an organization, it's a sisterhood. And I'm with a wonderful sisterhood, UBBC, United Black Birth Collective, and it's 4 of us. So when we go in, we'll go in as 4. We go in as a team. Sister T, she's the midwife, and she make us go. So she make us go. But we go in as a team, or either one come late or one leave early, or we know that we have to work as a team postpartum, and it's really beautiful, and it keeps a lot of the wear and tear off of you. So don't think you have to do this work by yourself. Get some like-minded, sisters, and y'all work together. It makes it much easier.
Yeah. Change the narrative. We don't have to follow what they said it was. We gotta. What's Tupac say? The old way wasn't working. We gotta make a new day. That's what we're doing.
And the older you get, you need young people. We have one. I'm 60. We have a 50. We have 2 40s, and we got like a 30-year-old. So we have like each decade.
We didn't plan it now.
No, I did. I planned it.
I think Tiara had a question. You have a question still, Tiara? So Tiara has a question.
I can't remember right now.
No, the other Tiara.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
My question is really connected to what you guys were just sharing, and it came up for me when Andrea Little Mason was talking around our fears. I trained to be a midwife, and my greatest barrier to taking on a full-time practice is a team. And building that team, and I just keep trusting God, is that it's just not the time for the path, but also I want to make sure that I'm participating in my role and what I'm supposed to be doing, and in building the team, and also showing up to my work. So, I keep my foot in the door. Like you said, I've stayed on as like a birth assistant at birth centers, worked in the community, done some primary birth, but really building a team, especially for the people who call me. Like, there are a plethora of white midwives here that I could join a team with. The people who call me don't want white midwives, right? So yeah.
I want to answer the question. Do you live in Oregon? You live here? It's a wonderful network here. Doulas, I'm gonna be honest with you, doulas come and go. Some of them stay, some of them don't. Some of them come and stay and come back, you know, so you're gonna, I expect that, you know, so, I'm pretty sure you can find a team here. 'Cause I've only been here a few minutes and I've been here, every conference, and I have a lot of people that I can connect with to make my team. And so if I got people around here to make my team, I know you got people around here to make your team. So you gotta go out there and ask people, you know, ask such and such a thing, cause that's what we did. You know, what happened was, I had a young lady who came to me saying, Sister Barbara, I wanna be a midwife, So she wanted a home birth, right? I said, okay. So I knew Sister T, I said, okay, Sister T, me and you going in here, and we're gonna do this home birth, right? Then she said, Sister Barbara, I wanna be a doula, I wanna be a doula. I said, I don't feel like fooling with you. She said, I wanna be a doula. I said, okay, you know, I've trained you to be a doula, right? Then I had another one, I said, well, Sister Barbara, I wanna be a doula too, You know, I said, okay, I trained both of them to be a doula. I said, well, okay, well, we got 4 people now. Okay, I said, so now we can make a team. So we got Sister T, and I'm Sister Midwife. We got a sister that's in midwifery school. Got another sister that's doing the traditional midwife thing, because we don't really, like Sister Mama Shafia said, we need black midwives. Doulas are okay. I don't use the word doula, I said birth workers. But all of us, we change roles. You know, once we come together, one do this, one do that, you know, we change roles. So you gotta get out there, you gotta get your will strong. You know, you gotta will it. You know, because it's plenty of energy in here. It's plenty of energy in Oregon. So it can be done.
Any more questions? Anybody? Anyone else?
Would you say that this is a call? Like Mama Shafia, you said that like you were born to do the work. Because I think that it could be part of the problem too, why there's burnout and things. Because I think when it's a call, it's different than if it's a profession. Like I was just sharing that if, like I struggle sometimes because it's a profession, but it's also my call. Like sometimes I'm really conflicted with like pricing and all those different things. So I guess I have a few questions, but.
Good question.
It's a very good question.
That is such a challenge, and I struggle with it to this day. We live in capitalistic America. It costs X amount of dollars to live. I need to live to do my work that I love. If someone gave me $1 million, I'd still do births. And I wouldn't worry about it. And if I was living the way my ancestors did, I'd be the one, people would bring me a chicken and a goat and I'd be good. You know, bring me a pot of food and I'd be good. But I'm not there, I'm here. So it's crucial to make peace with that. We deserve to live. Every birth worker should own their home. Every birth worker should own their home, and they should have that generational wealth to pass on to their kids. Their kids need to see, your daughters and sons need to see, oh, my mom was a birth worker, I might want to be a birth worker, right? I'm not going to go be a nurse, not because I felt the call to be a nurse, but because I know I can make a decent salary, right? So that's a very important thing, to take a deep breath, cry the tears, and give yourself permission to live and charge what you need to live, right? In my case, I put myself at half of what my sister midwives make in the Bay Area. So a Bay Area midwife is like $8,000. I'm half, right? And I put that line in the sand. No one did it to me, so I feel good about it, right? And it's also a decent amount of money that I can live. And I always have a sliding scale. So that doesn't mean I make that every single birth, but I make it enough that I got my mortgage, you know, they're happy with me, and I have my home to pass on to my children, right? And, you know, be able to come to this conference and be able to do the things that are important to me. and have time for my therapist and my acupuncturist. Right? My gym membership, all my holistic healers, because, you know, I'm like that. I need the money I deserve to live, and so do you, so does everybody here.
I just want to say, with my experience, I've had jobs. I'm a substitute teacher, so that way I can work when I want to and get off when I want to. I've had other jobs, and my birth work is so important to me because I feel that it is my calling, but I have to make my ends meet. You know, I'll just be in a situation where I can just leave, you know, or maybe take a temporary job or a job here, a job there, you know, but, yeah, so you have to, it's about a balance. You know, you have to learn how to balance your life because everybody's life is different, because every situation and circumstance is different. So one thing about birth work, you have to learn how to balance.
And I just want to say, from what I know, that the whole world always used some form of currency. So we always got reimbursed for our money, for our work. As a sign of respect, it's disrespectful for me not to give you something for a given time. So whether we used to quilt together or raise a roof together or whatever we did, you didn't come empty-handed. It was not part of our culture. My mother told me she believed that when welfare came, it changed our mentality, where it was all about give, everything's free. We no longer have the dignity to want to reimburse for the service that we got. So I look at it that way. But for me, in order for me to do the work I did, I had to create nonprofits. So I've run 2 nonprofits, one for 10 years and one for 16 years. One in Massachusetts, the first Black home birth nonprofit in the country. There were many, but never a nonprofit. So it's called the Traditional Childbearing in Boston. You can look it up. And I learned, that's when I said I was learning to be a midwife. So I found other Black women who wanted to be midwives. So we wrote grants. We funded ourselves so we could do very low cost births. So, and because I kept losing jobs. I was being fired. I had regular jobs. You go in 2 days for birth, delays, like if you love you, but that's not gonna work. So after losing my 3rd job, having 4 kids, I gotta figure this out. So I created a nonprofit. So that is one way that you all can be the CEO, because there's grant money out there, billions of dollars out there, contracts, and you know, give it any name you want. You know, I'm teaching maternal mortality. I don't know what I told them, but I was doing births. So I told them something. And they were funding me, and we were doing home births all day, all night. Everyone's getting paid, and we hired people, and it was great. All Black midwives serving our Roxbury Black community, and it was great. And then when I came to Portland, I did the same thing. I started the International Center for Traditional Childbearing. I became the CEO. I funded myself to fly around the world. I've been everywhere because my job paid for it, right? So it's my grant. I had to go to Africa. So I went to Africa. I had to go to Puerto Rico. I had to go to Colombia to learn about birth. So it's a thing that you all can do, but the main thing is I was able to do what I'm doing here, which is to bring people together and do births without losing my job. So that's an option too. Because we don't have $4,000. And even with the Medicaid thing, and that's the thing. And just to be clear, myself and we created the first bill for the Medicaid. It comes out of me and my husband and 5 other people to create that bill. We created that bill because every time we're training, particularly Black women, I would talk to them later, and as we said, they weren't doing the work because they said they were serving people who could not afford them, because we're training in communities that are already devastated, right? I live in my community, we're broke. Like, I'm not living in, what's it called? Silicon Valley with Black people? Mm-hmm. I'm not with Oprah and Beyonce. I wish I was their doulas. But I'm with my regular sisters. They can't afford $4,000. And so I had to figure out a way, so we figured if we could get Medicaid to reimburse for that population, that would help. But even still, it was $350, now it's $1,500. And it's still not enough. Because now I gotta do 5 births to make $5,000. So it becomes like a cash cow thing. We want our hearts to stay in it. We want to do quality work. So I would say, get some private clients, have some Medicaid families. Medicaid women deserve to have doulas too. They can't without this bill passed. It's very difficult for them. And half the population in the country, regardless of race, is on Medicaid, so it's a good thing. But just be creative, you all. And don't be shy to ask for, what you think your worth is, because we have to do that. We have like 3 more minutes.
Alabama, my state.
I'm roll tide. If you talk about that, something else. I just wanted to ask a question. Last year, I've had my own nonprofit for 5 years. I opened up a second in Florida. And I decided, I'm like, oh, I need to work as a director for a nonprofit. So I applied for the job in Pittsburgh. Yeah, okay. Got the job and went there. And immediately when I went there, I was like, this was not a good move. Right? It was a black-facing organization, and I remember thinking, I have been told that I need to work with black women. And when I went there, I recognized that black women need equity in black spaces too. Right? Because I was from the South, and I was there. I had really channeled my Margaret Smith, because that's my favorite midwife. I'm like, yeah, you can't talk to me crazy. Like, y'all talk to each other crazy if you can't talk to me crazy. So what's happening here? And so I recognized that there was a hierarchy and a pecking order, right? And so they had their own clique of people, and they would do whatever, and I was not in that clique. And on May 23rd, I got a call from the CEO that made me schedule an appointment to speak to her, and she said, we've tried. I'm just gonna pull the Band-Aid off. Listen, she was in the carpool line with her baby crying in the background. I was like, girl, you do not respect me, really, you know. She's like, we're just gonna terminate the relationship. And da-da-da. I'm like, you know what, this is not a bad thing. Because you never stood a chance with me. Right? So, but what I recognize is that there are some women that were so terrified to lose a job that they stayed there even though they were not treated well. It's two things. I'm not afraid to lose a man in a job because for people that are staying in places that they are not appreciated, they are abused, and their emotional capital is drained, and their mental capital and social capital is depleted. How do you protect yourself in a situation when you think that you should be undergirded with support with people that look just like you?
That's the question you gotta answer for the next time, unless y'all wanna explore.
We have a few minutes. Well, like I said, we have our villages, so you all weren't in the same village. That's what it wasn't, because we look like them, we were alike. Some are Catholic, some are Baptist, some are foot washing Baptist. Baptists don't like the Protestant, Presbyterian don't like this, Sufi don't like the Sunni. The whole list goes on. So you got to find out who you can work with. You know, because one thing I do want to say, having 7 children, is that I was blessed to always work in a black organization that I was the boss. I founded it. I was the CEO, and the people I worked with had the same mentality. So I never had the stress. So I didn't have the stress of premature birth and that kind of depression, because they were loving and we were kind to each other. And that's what we have to set. We have to set the platform that we want. Like, to work here, we're touchy-feely, you know, we talk to each other, we support each other, we don't backbite, we help each other out. So we have to create that kind of work environment. And it's not everywhere. I work for some places here that my sisters, they were unbelievable. It was bad. And thank God they fired me. So I got fired for that one. Jackie fired a lot. So
and one thing about Mama Shafia's training, which I really love, she brings black women together. All types of black women, all types of religions. She trained you, from what I get. And when she trained you, then you go out and serve your village. You see what I'm saying? And this is what makes it so beautiful. When like, it's different villages out there, like she said. So maybe you belong to one village, and you belong to one village, and you belong to one village. What you have learned here, you take it back. And that's what makes it so beautiful. But this is the basic.
But the thing is, that's what we did learn in this village is that we are able to work together and put aside difference. That's what we do here that's different in other places. We are different villages, but we're not gonna go to war. I'm not gonna burn your hut down. I'm not gonna stab you in the back. I'm gonna work with you and love you and find something that we can do together. We don't have to eat together afterwards, but we have to learn how to work together. You know, that's not an option anymore. And so if those people, sis, you're in advance. Listen, you all are advanced. You're not regular people. Seriously, you're not regular people. You know, we're gifted.
gifted and we're at a higher elevation, and most people aren't where we are. So we have to kind of help them get there, and if not, we have to just kind of like believe that the Creator's gonna get us to the right spot, you know. But most people don't think like this, you know, sitting around, singing Black National Anthem, laughing together, you know, everyone's being nice to each other, we're showing love. That's how it should be. And so we're an example here with all of our differences of what we hope to do in our community, because whether I hear people in the church, they don't want to go to church because everything in the church is mean to them. They don't want to go to mosque, so it's not just here. There's environments where are not warm and welcoming. Those women are pregnant. They're having stress. You know, you can't breastfeed in the masjid. You can't breastfeed in the church. You got to go to another room and all this kind of stuff that's just not okay. So we have to try to work with the people if we can. And if not, as I think Fannie Luhamer and many others, we create our own village. I created this because there was nothing for us in 2002. There was no Black doula training. There was no Black nothing. And so I had to make it. And that means sacrifice. That means that my children might not have seen me, or writing grants for my husband, but that's what you have to do. We have to create our world so that we can have, like, who got stressed here? Raise your hand. Anyone feel stressful? You feel stressful right now in here? Okay. I got scared, like, oh no, what are we doing wrong? Exactly. So we want to create the village. We're here to restore the village. This is it. How do we love each other and work together, respect each other? Love is universal. And love is so easy. Yeah, I don't care. I don't gonna love you no matter what. You don't love me, but I love you. That makes me feel good. I'm selfish. I feel good when I love you. So I don't want to go home with a headache, and I don't want you all to go leaving, getting fibroids, migraines, you know, all that unhealthy stuff comes from us not being able to work together. So we have to figure it out, you all.
Anybody else out there? So we're gonna end then.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, that's it. If you are on the planning committee member or a speaker or a sponsor, could you